Most Christians would tell you they're looking forward to heaven, life after death. Many are surprised to discover, however, that the New Testament has very little to say about what happens to believers the moment they die. And sometimes when it does talk about heaven, it says the opposite of what we might expect. I'm Dr. Matt O'Reilly of OrthodoxyForEveryone.com, and in this video we're going to look at one passage in particular that tells us about a group of Christians who've died and gone to heaven, but they are not happy about it. We'll learn that in the New Testament, heaven is not enough. Resurrection matters. In Revelation chapter 6, verses 9 through 11, we are told about a group of martyrs who died because they were faithful to God and to the testimony of Jesus. And now we see them around the throne of God or beneath the throne of God in heaven. And so this is one of those few glimpses in the New Testament that we get of people who have gone into the intermediate state, life after death, heavenly existence. They're in the presence of God. What's surprising about this passage is that they are not happy about their circumstances. Verse 10 says, "They cried out with a loud voice, 'Sovereign Lord, holy and true, how long will it be before you judge and avenge our blood on the inhabitants of the earth?'" What a striking passage. Here they are in heaven around the throne of God. Shouldn't they be happy? Shouldn't they be excited about being in the presence of their Creator, their Redeemer, their God? But instead, they're crying out. And what's their request? They're crying out for vengeance. They want God to avenge them. What's going on here? Well, these are martyrs. And martyrs are, by definition, people who've died and gone to heaven. They were faithful. They were committed to Jesus. They were followers of Christ. And they lost their lives because they would not betray their Lord. Going to heaven doesn't do anything for them because they're still dead. And the injustice that has been perpetrated against them still remains the case. As long as their bodies remain in the ground and their souls remain in heaven, their enemies remain victorious. And they're calling upon God, the God who is their Creator and the God who is the God of justice, to vindicate them. But what does that vindication look like? Well, in Revelation, vindication looks like the resurrection of the dead. And that's what these martyrs are waiting for. That's what they long for. The only justice for someone whose body was killed because they were followers of Jesus is for their body to be brought to life, to new life, to glorified life. After all, that's what happened to Jesus after he was killed for his faithfulness. Jesus was crucified, and in Revelation, he's the Lamb who was slain to redeem a people from every tribe, nation, and tongue for God. And being slain, he was raised from the dead. That feature of the portrait of Jesus shows up early in Revelation and runs throughout. He is the one who was dead and is now alive. And that's the thing these martyrs want more than anything else. And at the end of Revelation, that's what they'll get. All through the New Testament, bodily resurrection is the hope of the Christian faith. Paul says in Romans 8 that we await our adoption, the redemption of our bodies. He says in Philippians chapter 3, we're waiting for the Savior to come from heaven to transform our bodies to be like his glorious body. All of this together means that the hope of the Christian faith is not what happens to us when we go to heaven the moment of death. Is that true? Yes. Is it good? Absolutely. Is it a place of safety and rest, of consciousness in the presence of God? That's the way the Bible talks about it. But the Bible does not portray that experience of life after death as ultimate hope. Instead, the future resurrection of the body, glorified, set free from sin, set free from death, set free from all the frailties that we experience in bodily life. That is our hope. And for the New Testament, from start to finish, resurrection is the sum and substance. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to click subscribe and tap the bell to get notifications of new content.